Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sports Minute. I am Ace, and of course, tonight I have my co-host, none other than the J-Mac. J-Mac, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad.
That was I know we were texting back and forth as that Braves game was going on, and I know we were talking about it a little bit before this started, but man, Dom Smith, man, I don't know where Atlanta would be right now without Dom Smith.
I mean, the guy's just, every. I'm sure it's every team, right? But because of being a Braves fan, we have to hear it from just the Braves fans. But I'm sure every team is always like, man, our GM sucks. He didn't do anything good before the season. We don't have this depth. Well, you know what? Here's another example in which Alex Anthopoulos. This is why he gets paid to be the GM, and we get paid to sit on the couch and criticize the things that he does. This is another example because he went out and he was like, no one is picking this guy up. It's a very there's a low floor and a high ceiling. Let's give him a minor league contract, invite him to spring training and see what happens. And all he did is swing his way into being on the opening day roster. And since then, all he's done has been second on the team in RBIs with half as many as bats as the starters, by the way, I might add.
Right, and hit a walk-off grand slam this year. Tonight hits a game-winning bases clearing double. So, I mean, it's like...
Well, so you take that alone. Even if those were the only two hits of the season, right? That's 7 RBIs and 2 hits.
Yeah, but I think he's up to I think he's got 14 now because he did have another 4 tonight.
Yeah, so, he's got 14 RBIs on the year, only behind Drake Baldwin, who you can't speak enough about that guy. Rookie of the year, not a surprise.
And if he keeps swinging now, he's going to keep himself in the MVP race. If he keeps swinging like this.
For sure.
Which kind of shows you it makes Sean, and I hate to say it, I hate to be that guy, but it does kind of make Sean Murphy a little bit expendable. Like it shows you that you don't need.
The only thing on Murphy is a much better defensive catcher. That I defensive wise, you can't really get better than Sean Murphy when it comes to. I mean, Baldwin's a great hitter, but Baldwin still struggles with pass balls sometimes. And after that play from Jonah Heim the other night, I don't really care if he gets let go because listen, say what you want, and I know I texted you about this, but say what you want. I don't care. There is no way that Sean Murphy would have ever made that dumbass throw. Okay.
Yeah. The runner was clearly going to be safe.
He's 4 steps from third base, and I don't even know where. I think Heim was throwing the ball into the stands.
I really.
I just remember the guys calling the game, the play-by-play, and they're like, "Oh, and that one gets by Riley." Well, that's not on Riley. It was 10 feet away from third base.
Right. I saw that play, and I'm like, I don't even know where he was throwing that to.
I mean, that takes me back to we watch Major League. That's one of my favorite movies, and it's one of those moments when Harry Doyle is like, obviously Heim's thinking, well, I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
Right. I don't get it. I do not get it at all. But I know we're talking about Baldwin. I know we're talking about Dom Smith. But I did want to throw out another guy too that we haven't thanked enough so far this season is Dubon. He's been a great addition too.
The guy can play 7 positions. He could probably play catcher if you put him back there, but let's not have him do that. Let's not get him hurt doing that. But I mean, he can play all the infield positions, all the outfield positions, and the thing about it is he cannot just play them. Like, he's not just a guy to stick there. I honestly believe he could be a Gold Glove at any position on the field. He is that good.
Yeah, he is. Uh, his career batting average and stuff, hasn't been great, but this season he's doing something right because he's he's been raking. This year he's been raking. So
Right,
it's
but yeah, we know you got to score runs to win, right? But with a guy like Dubon, I'll take a guy that hits 230 that can play 7 positions in the field.
right. Yeah,
Because if I got a guy that can give Acuna a day off, he can give Harris a day off, he can give Yastrzemski a day off. Anyone in the infield, name anybody, he can give any of them a day off or a day where they can DH and get off their feet, and he can field their position just like if they were out there. Enough can't be said about that.
yeah, because you're not losing anything by having Devon out there. You're not losing anything on
Sure,
glove wise.
sure. To be honest, you're losing a little bit in right field with Acuna's arm versus DeBon's arm, but
The
as far as
glove wise is still about the same.
glove wise, you're not losing anything. You're not. It's not downgrading. Um, so yeah,
I
but
mean,
even if you have even if you have a guy that hits 225, 230, but can field any position and field it just as good as the guys that are out there, that's invaluable. You can't even put a price on what that guy is worth for your team.
for all we know, you could stick him on the pitcher's mound and he can pitch. I'm not
He
saying we
might be
do
able
that,
to.
but
Let's not try it, but
right.
but we don't know.
But
He could. He
no,
probably could.
but all I'm saying, if there's one guy on the Braves that could pull it off, it's Dubon.
I mean, I bet Houston's missing him right now with all the runs that they've given up this year.
Oh man, it's been bad. Their pitching staff is horrid. But
Well, I think they're. I mean, aren't they playing right now? But
I believe I believe they are playing now. Entering tonight, they had already
yeah.
allowed 108 runs. So it's been
I mean, that's crazy.
right.
No matter if it's 16, 15 or 16 games coming in tonight, even 16 games, right? 100. What was it? 107 runs. Sorry.
Okay. So I just looked and so they've actually played 18 games, and out of the 18, so they have they're 7-11 right now. So they played 18 games and they've allowed 113 runs.
I mean, that's 6.5 runs a game.
Yeah, their whole starting ERA, their pitching staff was sitting at like a 6.58 ERA so far on the season through 18.
Yeah, and didn't Hunter Brown just go down? Like their ace just went down. That it's not going to get any better in Houston.
No, now their offense has scored 102, but
okay, but since when in baseball can you go out and say, "Oh, well, if we score 10 tonight, we might win"?
right? Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's not a good position to be in.
No, it's not.
That means your hitters have to be on every single night, and we know that's not possible in Major League Baseball.
No, it's not. It's not. I work with a guy. His name happens to be Jason also, and he's a Twins fan. But we happen to be talking about the Astros, and we were talking about the runs allowed, and he's like, man, he's like, that's got to be close to some kind of record in the first 18 games or something. So I was trying to look it up. I was trying to look it up, but I couldn't find anything, and I'm like, that's got to be close though.
It's got to be close. I mean, that's got to be something. I mean, I don't even think the Rockies gave up that many last year.
No, that's
crazy. But bad. We should get on to what is it, Bristol first?
Yep. So we get into the recap of Bristol. And Bristol takes place in Tennessee. So Ryan Blaney was actually he got pole position at Bristol. He led 190 laps. He actually ended up finishing second. Kyle Larson, who ended up leading, who led the whole pack when he led 284 laps throughout the whole thing. He finished third. He started eighth. Now you have Ty Gibbs, and I want to throw this out and say congratulations to Ty Gibbs. It was his first career victory. He said it was in honor of his father, of course. He said this one's for you, Dad. And Ty Gibbs, it was his first career win. He only led 25 laps in the whole race. But again, it's like we've said before. It doesn't matter how many laps you lead, it's what happens at the end of the race. Who takes the checkered flag? And that's
100% correct.
That's all that matters. That is all that matters.
That's all that matters in the end.
So for anybody who was given Ty Gibbs, yeah, there was people out there that said Ty Gibbs only led 25 laps and did not deserve to win this race. It should have been Kyle Larson who led 284 laps. I'm like, it doesn't matter how many laps you freaking lead. It's who crosses the finish line first. That's what it is. You can lead one lap, and it could be the last lap, and you take the checkered flag. You won the race. It doesn't matter.
100% with you.
I don't care that it was 25 laps. I could care less. It was his first career win. Give the man his props. Congratulations to Ty Gibbs and his first career win. So with that win, that actually moved Ty Gibbs into fourth place in the point standings with 281 points. He's only trailing 3 current drivers, and the 3 drivers he's trailing is Denny Hamlin, who's ahead of him in third, and then you have Ryan Blaney, who's sitting in second, and then of course the leader that has 4 victories this year already is Tyler Reddick, and he's leading the pack in overall point standings right now. So that's your top 4. We'll have more of your NASCAR recap for you next week right here. Did you have anything to add?
I heard you say a lot of words and a lot of names, and out of all of that, I recognized Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay. All right. So, going into our next one, we are going to talk about. We're just going to do a quick recap on the Masters and with the PGA wise with Rory McIlroy. He's won back-to-back Masters now. He's won the green jacket 2 years in a row. He was able to just putt past Scotty Scheffler, who finished second. Rory was able to finish with 12 under. Scotty finished with 11 under. Rory was actually the first guy to finish and to win back-to-back Masters since 01 and 02. Who do you think that guy was in 01 and 02?
Well, you could overthink it, or you could just go with the obvious answer of Tiger Woods.
It was Tiger Woods. Yes,
yeah.
So Rory was the first guy to do it since Tiger Woods in 01 and 02. Rory became only the 4th golfer in the past 40 years to hold a lead or co-lead after each round of the Masters. And who do you think is the leading in that one? Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods was with that too. With his 6th major championship, the Northern Ireland. So he's from Northern Ireland, and he joined England's Faldo for second most among European golfers.
Yep.
So only England's Harry Vardon won more with 7 from 1896 to 1914.
I knew that. Yeah, right.
yeah, you knew that. So now the last, so I don't know if you got to see the 18th hole or not, but that 18th hole, like, so Rory was going in with like a 3 point with a 3 stroke lead, and I was like, there's no way that he can choke this away. So what's he do? Off the tee, he shanks it. He shanks it and he sliced it. And I was like, no freaking way did that just happen. And then he goes to freaking chip it and he chips it right in a bunker. And I'm like, no freaking way. I
Yeah.
was like,
Listen, listen. Um, hear me on this. I'm telling you, like we all love certain sports for certain reasons. We love the NFL for the entertainment. We love baseball because it's the most imperfect game in the world. You only have to succeed 3 out of 10 times to be one of the best. Um, we love the NHL because the fights that can happen. We love soccer because of all the back and forth. My whole point on that, we love the NBA for all the points that are scored and all the scoring. Hear me out on golf. Like golf is one of those sports that you can have a really good round one day and the next day you wake up and everything is just not going correctly. Or you play 17 good holes and the 18th hole you're like, "What in the hell is going on?" Um
yeah, exactly.
golf is one of those sports that you can don't ever say out loud, there's no way he can lose this lead because we've watched it happen before.
Yeah, it just when it came to it, everyone's like, he's got a 3 stroke lead. There's no way he's gonna blow it on the final hole. Well, he bogeyed on the final hole. Luckily, he bogeyed because they're like, if he misses this bogey shot and he goes to a double bogey, guess what? Now it's going to be a sudden death shootout with Scheffler. And so it's like he was able to sink his bogey shot. And I'm like, man, as soon as he sliced it and then chipped it, I was like, dude, he just put that in a bunker. I'm like, is this really going to happen? Is this real?
Yeah.
But then afterwards, you know, McElroy, he came out and he said, "Hey, this is what golf is." He's like, "If you think golf is easy to come out and win day in and day out, you have another thing coming." He's like, "For anybody who thinks this sport is easy, come out and try it. You're gonna learn. This is one of the hardest sports to play."
I've always thought so. So we all know that playing professional baseball and hitting a fastball probably right up there with the hardest thing to do in all of sports,
Hmm.
right? But I think the sport itself that has the biggest gap between amateur and pro is golf, and it's not close.
No, it's not. It's
It's
not.
not close. So, I mean, come at me with that comment, whatever. But I don't think there's the difference between me and Ace going out there and playing golf. I mean, we would get destroyed by these guys on the PGA Tour. That's all I'm saying. I'm
On their worst days.
on their worst day. On their worst day, they could probably honestly beat us with 3 clubs. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so my point is, I'm not saying either one of us could go out and hit a fastball or play Major League Baseball, but if you stuck me at third base and I stuck my glove up a couple times, I'd probably catch a line drive eventually, right? So
Yeah.
I could at least make some sort of effort in baseball in a professional baseball game. Golf, these guys could probably beat me with 3 clubs, blindfolded with one arm tied behind their back. Like the difference between amateur and pro is it's so massive.
It is.
I mean, these guys would laugh. Like you hit
Yeah,
a tee shot, I'd hit a tee shot, and they'd be like, "Was that your tee shot, or like did you use a driver? Or did you throw the ball?"
yeah, and so imagine Rory winning back-to-back Masters.
That's what I'm saying. It's not easy. It's not easy.
No, no, it's not. It's not. And so that's why he said he is so proud of what he did because he says he knows how hard this game is, and it can all be taken away in one hole, and it was almost taken away on the 18th
Almost
because
on the 18th.
it's a rough
100%.
hole for him. That's all it takes is one hole to screw your whole game up. That's all
I
it
mean,
takes.
I mean, look, it's all about practice and it's all about getting good. I mean, you have guys like John Daly, for Christ's sake, who just dude walks up, doesn't even use the driving range. I've heard his interviews, like, and heard interviews of guys around him. He comes up, he hits 6 shots. He's like, "Where's the first tee? What time am I teeing off?" Goes up there, tees off, and goes out and shoots like 8 under for the day. You're like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like,
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. I don't know how, but congratulations to Rory. Another excellent year at the Masters. Looking forward to next year and seeing if you can three-peat. That's never been done. So I would love to see somebody three-peat the Masters. All right. Um, Going into our next one. This one for me is a little bit difficult, and the reason I'm saying that is because I know you, J Mac, and myself, as Red Wings fan, we're not used to this type of stuff. So when we're coming out and saying for the 10th consecutive year, the Red Wings have not made the playoffs, making it the longest drought in the NHL, and going into the season with, I wouldn't say high hopes, but at least hopes of, hey, we got a good enough roster to be able to make the playoffs. And most of the year actually leading the Atlantic Division.
listen,
And,
okay,
and then all of a sudden towards the end, you start to slowly nosedive, and then you get all the way out of the wild card in the Eastern Conference. How?
how? Let me tell you how. It all started about 15 years ago. All right, Steve Yzerman was one. It was one of the best, the most decorated Red Wings players of all time. Let's not.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's true. That's a fact, right? But then the Red Wings did this really cool thing where they decided to make him the GM, and that
He said
doomed.
he was gonna. He did say he said it's a couple year plan. Let's turn this around. But I'm saying like 7 years later, and we're still sitting here like, oh my
Dude is ass when it comes to being a GM.
God, right?
Like, if I just he I don't even know. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's that bad. No skills of him being a player went into him being a GM at all.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
It's like he can't even evaluate talent. I don't know.
No, and and then our captain and Larkin is like after the game, he's just like I don't know what to say. He's like I'm numb. I'm so shook. I don't know what to say. And everyone's like, and the fans were booing you and leaving the stadium. He's like, they had a right to. They had a right to leave. They had a right to boo. We were leading the Atlantic Division for most of the season, and we have an epic collapse, and we don't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say. Like, that's it. That's it. Every fan has the right to be pissed off. Like, that shouldn't have happened.
No, because I'll tell you, this is the year. This is the year because it was 148. It was 148 days of the season that they had a chance. Like the Red Wings were in playoff position for 148 days. So if you spread that out and you think 148 days, you have a feeling that you're like, hey, this is the year we're going to break the drought. And then with 5 games left, and you're seeing, we're down to a 3% chance, and we have to win out and get help. And then
You
you
know,
lose. That's it.
all I can say is I guess we know what it's like to be a Jets fan now.
But as Red Wings fan, we're not like we're not really used to this pain.
Well, obviously we are for the last 10 years.
Yes, for the last 10 years, yes. But not but before this, the Red Wings were always a juggernaut. It was always a juggernaut team. And now 10 years, I'm like, when will it end? When will it end?
I don't know. Maybe.
You know when it's going to end? It's going to end when Yzerman is no longer the GM of the
Well,
team.
that ain't that the truth.
That's when it's going
Ain't
to
that the
end.
truth? Like I don't even understand that I don't even know what to say. Like it's that bad.
Yes, with the late season slide, this leaves more questions than answers. Like this leads, when do the Red Wings say enough is enough of Yzerman? You've given him 7 years to turn it around, and he simply hasn't done it. I
I don't
respect him.
know.
I respect him for what he did as a player for the Red Wings, getting a Stanley Cup as a team captain. Okay, I respect it. Kudos for Yzerman for that. But he does not belong as the GM.
You think? I mean,
uh, go ahead.
if you rank all the GMs in the NHL, right? Yzerman's last, and I would probably even put 2 minor league hockey GMs above him at this point. Like it's that bad. It's that bad.
Now I know some Red Wings fans are defending Yzerman and saying it's not entirely Yzerman's fault because he's not on the ice. Okay, I get it, but a GM has to construct a team that can win.
Sure, it's not all his fault, but
No, but
still, okay. So if I'm the owner, you're the GM, I come to you, I say, this is how much money is in the budget this year to spend. Go spend it. We need a coach, all these players. We need to put this whole team together. I just handed you the reins to the entire team. Your coach didn't work out. Your players suck. And then they have the biggest slide that we've seen in years. Whose fault is really that in the end?
right, it is. Yeah, no, it's the GM's fault because you didn't go out and get the pieces that you needed, and so it's simply that. Yeah, and so and the one thing is like when you have a wild card position as late as March 21st, and then from March 21st on, that's where you go into an epic like free fall and collapse. That that was why I really did not want to talk about this, but it was a big deal because it was the 10th consecutive season, and I felt like it was something that we should probably talk about.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you think about that. I mean, they haven't made the playoffs since I was 31 years old. Like that's insane to think about.
It is. It is. It is insane. All right. So moving on because this topic's kind of hurting just a little, just a little bit. All right. So what I did on the NBA topic, simply what I did was I looked at the top 4 teams from each conference. I wrote a little blurbage about not how they can win, but the things that could cost them from winning the NBA championship. And I want to see whether you agree or disagree. So
Yeah.
we have in the Eastern Conference, we have the Pistons coming in as the number 1 seed. Everybody knows I'm a huge Pistons fan. It's my favorite team. So obviously, I'm hoping that we can win the NBA championship. However, I'm not going to be biased and sit here and say, yep, 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 it's going to happen. I have to put the blurbage in there and say, this is why I feel like a reason why the Pistons will not win it. So, number one, there just isn't much secondary offense. Detroit was able to survive when Cunningham wasn't there when he was healing from a collapsed lung. They were able to survive. Now, however, the schedule wasn't exactly, how would you say, it wasn't exactly the toughest schedule down the stretch when Cunningham was out. So you make it to the
Teams were
playoffs.
teams were tanking the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just say
And
what it
so,
is.
and so now you make it to the playoffs. Now you're on a different level
100%.
because you're actually playing playoff teams. So even Cunningham at full health means the Pistons don't have multiple creators. Now I know Tobias Harris is when Tobias is on, he's on too. Um, there are a couple shooters, but when it comes to the secondary offense, when you have your bench players, there's just not, you do have a Karis LeVert, you have a Hater and stuff like that, but I don't know if there's going to be enough because to me, they don't have enough playoff experience because they are young. They are a very, very young team.
Yeah. Not much else to really be said. I would say that on the secondary. I think that's one thing they really struggled at this year was having a secondary scorer for sure.
Okay, so you agree that is the biggest weakness of the Pistons.
100%.
Okay. Now you come into the Boston Celtics. I know they're a very, very good team. We know that Tatum was out for a while and things like that. I get it. But now the Celtics going in as the 2 seed. I've got the rebounding isn't actually fixed. And the Celtics aren't healthy enough to make up for it. So even though Tatum and Brown is there, they're not healthy enough. And then when Celtics opponent are able to buckle down and get back to their defensive identities, they should be able to disrupt some of what the Celtics are doing on both ends.
Sure, but it won't happen in the first round. Celtics will breeze through the first round.
Yeah, now keep in mind I'm not saying that the Celtics are gonna lose in the first round, but I'm saying if they run into a team that has a huge that a team's identity is on defense, I think the Celtics are going to struggle.
Yeah,
because they're not a good rebounding team. They're just not.
right.
And so I think that's going to be one of their biggest weakness that could hold them back. Now, people have them going back to the finals. And
I mean, it's hard to pick against them when they've been there.
They have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing I'll give them, but their rebounding is an issue. Now we go into number 3, we have the Knicks that are coming in as a 3 seed. The one thing that I've noticed about the Knicks this season is I haven't really seen them fully click yet. And they're going to need to fully click at some point, even in the first round. Like everyone assumes, and it's weird. Like even people that have said the Knicks haven't clicked, people are just assuming that when the playoffs hit, the Knicks are just going to be boom, and they're gonna fully click and lock in. It doesn't work like that.
No, I heard an analyst say that he is a huge Knicks and Mets fan, and he puts them in the same boat. The Knicks are going to Knick, and the Mets are going to Met every single year, and he doesn't trust either one of them to ever win anything because they never do, and they always choke when it comes to the big games.
I mean, he hasn't been wrong. But it's just, to me, the biggest issue is they haven't fully clicked for him. They don't have championship experience. They're kind of that team too that doesn't have that lot of playoff experience. So
Yeah.
because of that, they don't shoot threes at a consistent basis either, and so they kind of rely a lot on Brunson. And so to me, that is why the Knicks won't make the finals.
Yeah.
And then number 4, and I know when I talk about the Cavs, when I mention a few things about the Cavs, you're gonna immediately be like 100%. And so the first thing is the perimeter defense of the team is going to get picked apart. Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are bad defensive players. And
No, you think so?
and and teams are going to be planning against them from game to game, and it could get ugly because they're going to come at Mitchell and Harden because they're just not good defensive players.
And when it comes to defense, and then those two guys, I don't even know how to describe it sometimes. Like, I honestly don't think they could stop a blind kitten from escaping out of a chain link fence. Like, I don't know how else to describe it.
No,
Um,
they're that bad on defense. They are terrible on defense. And they haven't been healthy this year also, but also think about this. We know that their postseason game, they haven't been so consistent. It hasn't been great when it comes to their postseason success.
no,
It doesn't fare too well. So that to me is, I'm thinking that is another reason why they won't. And so guys like Evan Mobley is going to have to be, they're going to have to step up and be ready, because teams are going to come after Harden, teams are going to come after Mitchell. And if they keep coming at them, it's going to get really bad. It's going to get ugly. So that is why I'm saying the Cavaliers will not make the finals, purely based on defense of two guys, Mitchell and Harden.
I'm with you.
And it sounds like you don't disagree with that at all.
Not at all.
All right. Let's go into your favorite conference, the Western Conference. We go to the
Always
top
been a
four.
Western Conference guy.
Yeah. We'll start out with the number 1. I got the Thunder. I really don't have much to say about the Thunder. Maybe unless SGA gets hurt, it's really the only thing that I can really say is if Gilgeous Alexander gets hurt. It's the only thing I can think about. The Thunder don't really have much of a weakness.
Well, I mean, they do. They lost. They lost what, 4 out of 5 games in San Antonio against San Antonio this year. So they do
But
have
if
a
I
weakness.
remember right, I believe Gilgeous was out for 2 of those. If I remember right, I believe they had 2 of their top players out in that one, I think.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, say what you want, but they still like it. You got to still play the game.
No,
Um,
I get it. I get it.
no, and you know, because I'm a San Antonio fan, it's hard to say something good good about OKC, but
They're just not that weak of a team.
they're just not a weak team. It would really surprise me if the Western Conference Finals wasn't OKC and San Antonio. Like, I think that's what everyone's expecting. It would be surprising if it wasn't those two teams, because they've consistently been the best 2 teams in the West all year long.
Yeah, and it really would not shock me, and I know you being a Spurs fan, I'm just saying it would not shock me if you see the Thunder back in the finals again.
No, no.
It would not shock me at all. Now number 2. Now the number 2 seed, the San Antonio Spurs. And I know for you it's hard to say bad things about your favorite team, but I'm going to tell you what I have marked down as the Spurs, and you can agree or disagree, and that's fine. So for the Spurs, number one, I have the lack of experience. Number one.
Mhm.
Number two, they do turn the ball over quite a bit.
That they do.
And number three, they're not a big elite 3-point shooting team.
No, they have their moments, but I mean, they're not consistently hitting threes. That's for sure. Um, but you know, they came within 5 points. 5 points. Barnes was 5 points away from averaging 10 points a game this year. So he ended the season averaging 9.997 points a game this year, which 5 more points throughout the entire season would have made them the first team in NBA history to have 8 guys average 10 or more points a game
Yeah,
for
which
the whole
I'm not
season.
saying.
So my only point with San Antonio is if Wemby's not hitting, they have 7 other guys that can step up and score.
Yeah,
So it is an advantage for them in that regard.
yeah, and I'm not saying that that the Spurs can't shoot. I'm just saying they're not consistent in 3-point shooting. And that is where I'm saying it could end up hurting them because they're not consistent within that category.
Sure.
All right. So number three, and of course, the Nuggets are starting to get hot. They're one of those teams that are starting to get hot. We kind of knew it was coming. We knew at some point in time that that Jokic, even though Jokic hasn't been fully healthy all season, he still has some lingering. He's still battling some injuries, but still, Jokic is Jokic. Jokic is still there. He's still the Joker. It is what it is. But so that's kind of one of the things I have there. They haven't been healthy all season. They're still battling injuries, and Jokic hasn't looked spry or healthy since coming back off of the knee injury that Jokic had. And Aaron Gordon has been battling a hamstring injury for most of the season. So
Yeah.
the team hasn't been maximizing its potential going into the playoffs, even though towards the end, like I said, they kind of started getting hot towards the end, but most of the season they haven't been living up to their potential.
The only negative that I really have on the Nuggets is they go as Jokic goes, and I know you know um, that he's not their only scorer, but really Jokic
No,
is
but
one of
they
those
feed off
players.
of Jokic. They feed off of Jokic.
Yeah, and he definitely is the catalyst in that team. Um, but one thing that I've noticed with Jokic, if you go back and look at some of the games, one thing I hadn't noticed till someone pointed out to me, and I went back and looked, is he kind of gets in his own head sometimes. So when he's playing bad, he continues to play bad almost until he has to take a break and sit out of the game and recalibrate, if you will. Um, when he gets into a funk, I mean, it can be bad. It can be bad
Yeah,
for him. So I think that might hurt him in the long run. Like if he gets run down in a game and he's not playing well, then they're not going to play well as a team.
yeah, and I don't disagree with that. Um, so going into the fourth seed, a team that we despise, which is the Lakers. Uh, so basically, what I was saying about the Lakers is we know going into it, they're not, and I don't care what anyone says. Okay, the the Braun fans or whatever you want to call them or whatever. If people are saying the Lakers are going into the playoffs with their best player, they're not. Their best player is not LeBron. I don't care if Braun fans are out there going, nope, LeBron's still their best player. He's not their best player. Their best player is Luka. and they're not going to have Luka in the first round. Their top
Right.
two scoring players was Luka and Austin Reeves, and they're not going to have either of them in the first round.
Yep. I agree.
And so you can forget about anything that happened during the regular season or whatever. The deficiencies that they're going to have in the playoffs with no Luka, no Austin Reeves, that's going to hurt.
And what's LeBron James' record in Game Sevens again?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it's not very good. So
It's not good. So, first round they go to a Game 7. It's not going to be good.
And they get to play. The only thing I will, because we've had this conversation before, so they are playing the Rockets in the first round, and we even said the Rockets kind of go as Kevin Durant goes.
Yeah, but do you take a Durant or a 41-year-old LeBron to lead their team into a 7-game series and win 4 of them?
I would say that at this point in time, I'm going to take Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Because I still think he's going to have more energy. He's going to be more spry to be able to do it. So
The only bad thing about that is if the Lakers lose in the first round, Lakers, Yankees, and Cowboys fans are the same every friggin' year. And if the Lakers lose in the first round, it's going to be because they didn't have their best 2 players, and LeBron had to do it all himself.
Right. Yeah, no, I know it's going to be that. I definitely know it's going to be that. And I know, if people decide to leave comments on our shows or whatever, they're going to talk about how we're bad mouthing LeBron and blah, blah, blah. I've never been a fan of LeBron. I don't care what team he's played on coming out of high school when he was originally drafted by, I've never liked the guy. So I don't care.
Listen, I not really ever been a big fan as well,
I respect his game.
I respect the fact that he's played as long as he has, and he's still playing at a pretty high level for how long he's been in the league and the age that he is. But I give him that. But I've just never really been much of a fan.
No, I've never been a fan either. And so that's where it's I just think the way that the league has changed, and for anybody who's saying LeBron doesn't do this and LeBron flops, LeBron fakes injuries, LeBron does all that crap too. So it's just the way the league is now. So
Yeah.
anyways, so now I took you through why I think each team, the top 4 teams, will not make the finals. Will not. So, and it looks like we're in agreement on quite a few of those, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
And I want to say congratulations to the Miami, not to Miami Heat, sorry, to the Hornets tonight that actually beat the Miami Heat in overtime, 127-126. Heck of a game there. And then the Suns now came all the way back from a 14-point deficit to now they have the lead over the Blazers, 93-85, currently in the fourth quarter. So they were down by 14. I was watching the game and the Suns were down by 14. And I was like, oh, the Suns might be done. And then they start coming back. I'm like, oh, the Blazers are going to let them back in it. And they did. Yeah. They let them back in
it. They did.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. They actually let them all the way back in it. That is crazy. I was not expecting them to do that. And it actually happened. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to do something. A little fun tonight before before we hop off. I wanted to do so. I know you've heard this before. It's Keep 5 and Cut 5. This is sports movies. so you get to keep 5 and you get to cut 5.
Before you do that, I got one thing real quick.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I've been hard on Keldon Johnson. He's never been my favorite player. Everyone knows that for San Antonio. However, I do got to shout out and give him respect for being the first Spurs player in franchise history to score 1,000 points off the bench in a season. So, congrats to you, Keldon Johnson. You've come over the hump. Still not a huge fan of you, but I have to give you respect where it's due. So,
Got to give the props. Okay. All right. Uh, so the very first one, keep or cut the water boy.
it's hard, sometimes it's hard with these because you don't know what's coming up next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it for now.
Okay. You're gonna keep that. So that's one keep. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, Happy Gilmore.
Oh man, you went in with 2 straight Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
For what it was at the time and how big it became, I got to keep that one as well.
Oh, keeping Happy Gilmore. All right.
Yeah.
So keeping Waterboy, keeping Happy Gilmore. That's not bad. Okay. So going into number 3, The Blind Side.
I can cut The Blind Side.
Yeah. So knowing kind of what we do now,
Yeah.
with The Blind Side, that would be a little bit easier one to say cut. Okay. The next one, Dodgeball.
I mean, is it really I guess it's got like great one-liners. It's a quotable movie, but I don't know that it's a real sports movie. Like is Dodgeball, it's kind of a sport, but I like how they did the ESPN Ocho because it's an obscure sport.
Yeah.
So I can cut that one. Like if I didn't watch that as a sports movie, I don't think like you take Dodgeball out of it, it's probably still almost the same movie.
Okay, so so far you have 2 keeps and 2 cuts. Now the next one, I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but it's Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, I can cut that. Again, it's drag racing or NASCAR or whatever. They're building a car. I don't. That's a sport per se, I guess, but not really sports.
Okay, so that's number 3 of your cut right there. So you have
Yeah.
two keeps and 3 cuts currently. So the next one is Creed.
Boy, I'm gonna keep Creed.
You're
Yeah.
keeping Creed?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. The next one, 42. So, so you're sitting at 3 keeps and 3 cuts currently.
Yeah. Probably look really bad if I cut it, but I think because it's been done a few times, I'd have more choices of watching more than just one of those. But for what it means for the sport, that's a tough one. That's a toss up. But let's cut that one.
Oh,
Yeah, crazy. I know.
cutting 42, man. That's
So,
that's rough. That is rough. I was not expecting you to actually say cut that one at all. But I was like, okay, all right. Um, so the next one that we're gonna have is Rocky.
and I already kept Creed. But I don't know what's coming next. I think that's my problem. I got to keep Rocky.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, so you've kept the Water Boy, you kept
Matt,
Happy Gilmore.
yeah, I'm at 4-4 right now.
Yeah, you're at 4 and 4 right now. All right. The next one. Remember the Titans.
It's rough, but you don't know what's coming for the last one. Oh man, it's so hard. It's so hard to pick between the last two because you don't know what the last one's going to be. So many football movies. Remember the Titans was one of the best ones, but I don't think it was the best one. I can cut Remember the Titans.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's rough.
All right. So the number 5 that you're keeping, this is your keep now. The one that you're keeping is Moneyball.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I think there's probably some stuff of it that we learned since then, but I just think that the premise of the story and how to build a team with no money, I don't think that can be beat. So I'm okay keeping Moneyball. I'm okay with that.
So after going with the list that you've had, is there anything now knowing? Was there anything that you're like, oh dang, if I could change it around, I would change it around?
Yeah, I would definitely keep 42 and cut the Water Boy for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that one I would. Do you feel like at any point in any of these, you feel like you'd want to swap out with Remember the Titans?
No,
No.
no. Remember the Titans was good, had a good story, but I just for me the only one I would swap out is 42, and I could cut the Water Boy because Water Boy was fun. It's a football movie. It's great. It's fun. It's a fun watch, but 42 is so inspirational and for what it meant for the sport and what breaking the color barrier. There's nothing better than that. So that's the one I could cut and keep differently for sure.
Wow. So okay, I would say that I'm glad that we got to do this because I thought that this would be a kind of a little bit of a fun activity to just try out and see your your point of it, to see exactly what you thought on the cut and keep. So that was fun. That was definitely fun. Um, this week I was really trying to find. I was really trying to find a current like play that I could have found for officials timeout. Um, but I was having a hard time really finding. Oh, okay. Actually, let me. I think I might have one right here before we wrap this up. I think I do have one, and so yeah, let me send that really quick, and then I can bring it up. Okay. This is kind of a this was kind of an interesting one too. So oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. Quick, I got to go back because there was some people confused when they watched this play. Okay, so here's the here's the play. I'll bring it up. This one actually happened. I believe it happened a couple years back, but here's the play. So runners on first and second with 2 outs. So it's first and second with 2 outs. Okay. So the ball gets hit. They stop it at first base. Boom. Okay. He called him out. He called him out. then the catcher goes back and tags him. Now, what happens is the manager got ejected because there was 2 outs. If you remember, there was 2 outs. So it was the first baseman that stopped the ball, pitched it to the pitcher. The pitcher goes up and touches the base. The umpire called him out. So the player rounding third, he stops running halfway home. But the catcher went back and tagged him anyways. And then after review, they went back and they actually said, "Oh, the player actually beat the runner at first base." So the runner was actually safe because he didn't throw at first base, and then the umpire allowed the player to go back to third base.
Nope.
So everybody was saying, why was the runner allowed to go back? Why was the runner allowed to go back to third base?
He shouldn't have been.
So in this case, I can kind of see why the umpire allowed him to go back to third base, because of the simple fact that at first base, that's a force out. And so the runner was called out. So the runner was called out, which would have made it 3 outs. So in that case, the runner was rounding third and he stopped. He goes, "Oh, it's 3 outs. So I'm going to stop." And he just stopped because there was 3 outs. And then after review, the guy at first was actually safe. So the umpire said, "Oh, the guy might have beat the throw home, but he stopped running because the runner was called out at first, which made it a 3rd out."
I don't know. I mean, I guess in the moment, but by rule, like if it's not a force out, the runner can run anytime he wants, and it's up to the result of the play.
So it's right here. See, he gets it, picks it up, throws it to first. Boom.
So he's safe at first. Even though he called him out, he's safe. Now, he called him out. Now he's safe. Now he's out. That's the 3rd out.
Now, for whatever reason, but they called him out originally at first base. So that would have been out number 3. So why the catcher went up to tag the runner around third, I don't know, because there already would have been 3 outs.
Yeah, but just allowing him to go back to third doesn't make any sense, because what's the result of the play going to be?
So
he's there. He beat him. He beat him by a half a step, but it's an interesting call, but.
And so he gets around third. Okay, out. Okay, I'm going to stop running now because they called him out. And then for whatever reason, the catcher went to tag him.
I mean, a continuation of the play, it'd be rough. Like, I'd have to get with my other umpires, but he tagged him. So, I don't know.
Now the Phillies manager, Rob Thompson, he did get ejected because he did argue about this.
You're right. And he should have argued about it. It's one of those where you're just going to make the best call you can while you're on the field. Yeah. I mean, I think any manager would have got kicked out in that situation, no matter the level of the play, if he got allowed to go back to third. Because it's not like he stopped at third. Like, he ran almost all the way home before he stopped.
Yeah, and he stopped because he thought that because they called a 3rd out, so he stopped running and just said, okay.
And then he tagged him, so then that makes it the 3rd out, which means the run's not going to score anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a rough call, but in this case, I don't think the umpire was correct. I think it should have been the 3rd out on the tag between third and home.
Well, yeah, because then everybody was saying, okay, let's say in this case the runner didn't stop running and he crossed home plate, and then they went back and reviewed it and called the runner safe at first. Would the umpire have allowed them to keep that run, or would they have sent them back to third?
I mean, that's a good question. This is one that in the moment you're going to make the best call. You're going to make a call you think is right. I, in this situation, would have said the third out occurred from the runner rounding third and coming home. That's the third out, even though the runner at first was safe. I think that would have been.
I think either way, either manager probably would have got ejected because
100%.
the other
100%.
manager,
It's one of those. It is one of those weird ass plays that's going to happen once in a lifetime. None of us are ever going to see this probably again in a game. But
because the other manager would have came out and said, but my player stopped running because the third call was they called the third out at first base, so he stopped running.
You're right.
And
I think this is a no-win situation no matter what you call. I'm just going with what I would have called, and that's what I would have called. I would have said the guy that rounded third and came home is out. That's the third out, even though he's safe at first. So that makes the safe at first. Like he's safe at first. It's a base hit, whatever. But the third out occurred after rounding third. So I think either way, there was going to be like this is a no-win situation for an umpire for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So I forgot that I had that clip. I'm like, oh, I don't. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I do have a clip. So we definitely do want to thank everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed the episode. With Sports Minute, that's the thing is we try and bring you as many sports as we possibly can. We just don't want to just talk NFL and baseball. We try and bring you everything that we possibly can. So with that being said, J-Mac, did you have any final words?
No, I think we covered a lot. I think covered pretty much everything we needed to. Continue watching. We're enjoying doing this, and we enjoy watching and reactions and like and subscribe.
All right. Yep. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see everybody next time for another episode of Sports Minute. You all have a good night and enjoy.